Hello. Good day. Or you know what? I am Ikangu Kiwi. I'm planning to do my attempted playthrough of Sonian or Sonian Hotel by Ray. Now, Ray has worked on a interesting mod based on one of my favorite games, Ai Files, or I The Somnium Files. A series of games are written by Kotaro Ujikoshi, who worked on the Zeroscape games, and I found out they actually work on a mod like this, which is pretty awesome, I'll say. I want to try this out, so... Alright, so let's click on the level. Okay, Shinjuku, Japan. Regardless of difficulty, it remains all the same. For example, same objective. It's just literally just the same objective each time whenever you pick something. However, I'm kind of wrong. It's not really the same objective. In fact, technically, you could, technically, it's not really the same objective as I thought it'd be. It's just very similar. So, in fact, in Agent, I'm trying to figure out which is the difference between the other difficulties. So, yeah, you're supposed to check it, and then go to your room and contact MoMA and call for equipment and gather information. However, in Agent, for example, you don't need to go to your room to absolutely do much. So, yeah, there's just not much of an objective variety in this. But, however, we have reviewed the data you obtained previously. One name kept appearing, Kamakura. The Kamakuras are a Yakuza family. Since the death of their boss, they turned towards legitimate enterprise. Less overly criminal, but still organized and connected. Not to be unnecessary, they believe their new boss is currently at the Sonian Hotel. I don't think there's a Sonian Hotel, unless there is one in the game, but oh well. And we gotta look at our briefings, like, they're all seem to be pretty basic, in my opinion, overall. But hey, Q Branch, at least the dialogue is kinda has a story, so I imagine this takes place after the first Sonian Files. So, let's start the level. Regardless, the music from this level is from the first game. It plays when you visit the Kamakura's headquarters, actually, which is interesting, I'll say. Let's talk to our waitress or receptionist, whatever. Let's talk to her. But due to the limitations of the N64, there's no custom models, so it's all recycled models from Goldeneye. So, let's look at a character example. So, let's travel to our hotel and look at everything so far. So, Mizuki is supposed to be in here, but she's wearing a yellow jumpsuit for some reason. Which, to be fair, they couldn't probably import any of the models from their game due to them having a lot of polygons, so I can't blame them on that. So, let's look at Boris, even though he's called Man in this game, but funny enough, Amame is a reskin of Natalia. Look in the sunfish pocket! Yeah, I did not know Amane is Natalia. Just kidding. So, Jen from Nirvana is also in this game. So, some of the cast does make an appearance, even though they're just reusing GoldenEye models. Iris this is supposed to be Iris, or ASAT, of course. And it's kinda doesn't fit her outfit, I'll say, but hey, they don't have the memory to create new models or the resources, so I can't entirely fault them on that. So anyway, what we're supposed to do is go to our hotel room and contact MoMA Kamakura. However, even on Agent, I found something really off, so even though there's not much of a difference it seems like, right? But yeah, you could be in the hotel room. So let's talk to Momo Kamakura. Now, the part I will gonna be found extremely tricky is you're supposed to, I never really like this part of the level is, if you get caught, you fail the mission. Well, technically I could use save states, but I always felt like that's kind of like cheating in a sense, so I don't really use save states in emulator for Goldeneye at all. So, I usually just prefer to play everything as it appears it is, actually. So, anyway, we're supposed to connect the phone downstairs, which is very easy to do. So you have to go downstairs. And funny enough, this level is a reskin of Facility from the original Goldeneye. So Steam is like some comfy hotel. So anyway, you gotta wait to the phone, and you have to get your equipment delivered to your room. Afterwards, now you're supposed to do something. So you're supposed to obtain this device, actually. So what you're supposed to do is you have to go to that computer room over there. But here's the tricky part, and I'll show you why this part is very tricky. So you're supposed to distract the guard. On paper, it sounds easy. See, the thing I hate about this part in general, right? You're supposed to... Anyway, you have to wait for that guard to, absolutely get distracted. The thing I hate about this level is once you connect the computer like this, for example, you have to wait. But here's the thing, it's a pain in the ass. If you get caught, you fail the mission. I feel like that's flawed level design. And you see this is why I don't really like this part as much. I think it could have improved a bit more if they allow some combat. I know this plays like a visual novel, and that's absolutely fine. But the problem is, I feel like it doesn't really work well as a puzzle in this example. It's cool in concept, but it's very easy to fail the mission if it goes like this. So, I'll try to do another attempt. See, you're supposed to distract the guard. Now, in concept, it's easy, right? The thing I hate is that you have to wait. Alright, I recommend just leaving this room for a couple of seconds. And the main reason you have to do that, if you don't do this, if you didn't do that quickly, you will fail the mission. Now, I quite like the challenge here, but I really wish it could have been done a lot better. So this feels like a visual novel type puzzle, I like to call it. So let's leave around. Okay, get out here. Let's get out. If the guard comes back, then I'm kind of fucking screwed. Right? So you have to wait till the guard leaves the room. So it's very simple. But at the same time, this part did confuse me because I was like, what am I supposed to do here? Do I have to go someplace, somewhere? Anyway, wait. Okay. Let's wait for a few seconds. Okay, let's get out of here. If you don't get out of there, the guard will caught you and you will fail the mission. So you have to be very quite careful how you handle this. How you handle this part of the level. But that's the thing I like about is, you know, the challenge is good on paper. But the issue is that you have to be extremely careful. So this is technically like a Somnium Files puzzle or something. Where you're supposed to do something. If you run out of time, you're screwed. So let's get out of this room. Or else the guard will come back. See, always get out of the room for a couple of seconds. If you don't, you fail the mission. I hate to repeat myself, but this part is pretty tricky. But make sure that guard doesn't caught you in the room. So if you don't do anything. So anyway, let's wait till a few seconds, right? In concept, this is pretty cool, but at the same time, I really wish it could be done a lot better. It's not bad, of course, but I would actually wish that there is some gameplay in this level. Instead of being like a usual visual novel type thing like you see in Somnium Files in terms of the whatever. So let's wait till this guard leaves, and afterwards you beat the mission. So anyway, let's hope he doesn't come to this room very quickly. Alright, let's get out of here. Anyway, looks like we have finally beat the mission. What the hell you're supposed to do? Well, you have to go back to your room and beat the mission. So, yeah. Hand over the data. Yeah. Well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Bad news. Bond, we've been cut off. That's okay. We have other means gathering info. Looks like another agent will have to step in. See? You beat the mission. As a fan of the Ai The Somnium Files games, I really appreciate this mod, but I really wish it's been a polish a bit more. I don't know how to describe it. It's that the last part is an interesting puzzle, but I really wish there's some actual gameplay in a sense. I mean, there is gameplay, but in Goldeneye, you expect to shoot guards and etc. I feel like that's actually the main appeal of Goldeneye in general, is to shoot things. But since this Somnium Files is more of a, story focus and, story focused type title or visual novel in general, kind of makes sense why there's no gameplay in design. But fans of Goldeneye are not really going to appreciate this mod because it doesn't have actual gameplay. However, fans of the original Somnium Files like myself will absolutely appreciate the Easter eggs and a lot of the, let's say, characters are included in this one. I think it'd been really cool if someone make a mod with the Danganronpa characters or whatnot, or any of the Spike Chunsoft visual novels that, either Kadaka or Ujikoshi created. I'd like to see some sort of multiverse type mod based on the concept, but the problem is, how the hell are you gonna, write? How the hell are you gonna write a lot of these characters? Because everyone has a different writing philosophy. But if either way you could pull it off and not prevent them from being off character, I think that would deserve a lot of credit. Overall, I like this mod for what it is. So, if you're a fan of, let's say, Ujikoshi's works for Somnium Files, I recommend checking out. If you're not a huge fan of visual novels or adventure games or whatnot, I do not recommend trying this out. Unless you're kind of curious to see what Somnium Files is kind of referencing here. But if you never play the games, then I don't really recommend trying this out, I'll say. But unless you did play the game, I kind of recommend trying it out once. I would say it's good for what it is. So, see you all later.